190,000 phones were stolen in 2023. Thefts are up 50% last year. We just need to go after them and grab them and put them in prison. It's not we're just talking about it.
So what I'm thinking immediately is about Back to the Future 2, in which they use the use of technology. What could be a possible hoverboard just being used to commit crime. So again, that's movies being what? Prophetic, but also being just obvious. If you notice, like maybe young, anyone in need of quick cash or quick money, they will revert to that kind of activity using technology. It's all over the internet. It's really not a big stretch once you just observe.
Welcome to you both.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Dave, you've become quite the crime reporter, haven't you?
Well, I like doing things that make a difference. And sometimes we get the ability to shine a light on different causes. And we like helping and making a difference to real people. And Stu invited me along to the city police and said, do you want to do some training with us? And do you want to come along and try and catch a baddie? And we did.
What?
Yes. Would you like to tell them, Stu, what went on?
Yeah, so Dave come and joined us. We went out on a patrol, as it were. I spotted somebody who I felt didn't look like they were on an overpowered, illegal e-bike, should we say, illegally adapted. So I sort of jumped on my bike, shot up after him, pulled him over, stopped him. It was an illegal e-bike. There wasn't much else to that particular incident, but we seized the e-bike off of him.
Right. So his crime was riding an illegally modified bike.
Yeah.
But the big issue beyond that, Dave, is that these bikes are being used to snatch phones. What did you find out?
Well, the briefing we did was brilliant. I mean, 190,000 phones were stolen in 2023. Thefts are up 50% last year. And there's 22 phones an hour being pinched. And I think we just need to go after them and grab them and put them in prison. We have to go do it. So I've actually now been invited for a second set of training where I'm actually going to get embedded into the force and we're going to go after the baddies. And one of the things I was shocked about, Ed, was when we lifted that bike there, 71 miles an hour. That bike,
it was amazing.
And there's no registration on it. It's turning into a weapon. Now, I
You got
lifted
hit
that
by
up.
that walking as a pedestrian.
It's unbelievable. When I lifted the back end up on that, it's like lifting the half of a terraced house up. So imagine half a terraced house going down the road at 71 miles an hour and hitting somebody. They need getting off the road.
Presumably in a city centre, if you are a police officer on foot or in a car, what these bikes can do is they can go up on pavements, downstairs, up little alleys. Much easier for them to get away really fast. I mean, how do you deal with that?
Well, you've just talked about some of the training we do, which is what we do for our cycle officers. This is exactly the training we do around up and down stairs. Obviously, on a pedal cycle, which is what we use, we're not going to catch up if they're going at fast speeds. But what we will do is flood the area with officers on the pedal cycles. But whilst we're doing that, the other units, our control room, they're all getting in place. So the motorcycle riders, the advanced drivers that are trained to stop the...
And in the case which we saw...
He's talking about the action plan to tackle criminal. So the camera, as soon as he's telling about this plan of action, you see that kind of take. Just watch.
You weren't in the car or on the bike. As I understand it, you were in the control room watching on CCTV and telling the police where to go to block off where the criminal was going.
So sort of. So the control room took the call, very quickly got on the cameras to pick them up. They then put that out for all the officers on the ground. I was on the ground with other cycle officers.
So he just used the word control room, where people will be in the background having some sort of control of what's going on outside. That, you can think, it's a conceptual version of the machine perspective. He's not talking about people in the control room. They say our control room. It's like the control room becomes personified there. And then the camera moves to shoot what we call, like in movies, the machine perspective, where you see through the machine. If we stop here, so that's the machine perspective completely. It's a camera picking up an action in scene. So you have his on the balaclava, right? So you have only the two eyes. This is an image of NatWest. So you have the ST here. This is important. Look, pay attention to the word NatWest. Here you can see random. I'm not saying this was put deliberately. Westminster, you have ST there, Westminster. Look at the coincidences.
You were in the control room watching on
So it stops here even, like not west, so you can see clearly.
CCTV and telling the police where to go to block off where the criminal was going.
So sort of. So the control room took the call, very quickly got on the cameras to pick them up. They then put that out for all the
Now pay attention, the camera again, right? That's the control room view. And it stops again, the word NatWest right there, through between these two. I know it's a coincidence, but just pay attention.
officers on the ground. I was on the ground with other cycle officers.
The officer stopped right there under the ST. Like, it looks like it's cinematographically produced, but it's not. That was all natural. However, how do you explain that? Because that's a coincidence, right? The cognitive buyer was quick on spotting those coincidences. But in cinema, they're put deliberately, correct?
And I wasn't near to it, but some of my team were.
Has somebody seen cameras and telling you where to go?
Yeah, so, and then the vehicles also know where to go.
But talk to us about when the vehicles, because does the vehicle, like the motorised, your car effectively, does that ram